Okay, it looks like we are live. I think we're live. Let's see how we're doing here. And we're getting started. So what we're going to be doing today is kind of a twofer because I am recording. I was just going to do this as a live stream, and I thought, you know what, this might work as a actual video. So I thought we would probably record a video as I do this. And so what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to kind of talk about some of the accessory items that I have for my Switch. I don't have many, believe it or not, just a couple that we'll talk about. And then we'll kind of get into some other things as we work our way through here. So that is the plan. And I tell you what, I really enjoy my Nintendo Switch, partly because my kids love the games on it. And there's so many like family-friendly games on the Switch. There's a couple on the Xbox too, and we've been finding more of those with Game Pass. But I'm finding, for the most part, the games on the Switch really engage the kids a lot more. So that's been kind of the track I've taken with this. So let me get some hellos out of the way here, and then we'll get to work. Start recording some of this stuff. So Romerica's here, hello. Donald Newman is here. Ando Gamer is here. Josiah Guernsey is here. Romeric wants to play some Mario Kart. Maybe we'll play some towards the end, perhaps. So we'll figure that out. Mark Smith is here, but he can't listen because he's at the library. So you got to get those headphones out. But we'll try to keep the volume down for you. Joe Tyson is here. A Random Dude is here. Asuntos Importantes is here. Great day to you. Nigel is dialing in from the London Heathrow area. Mark wants to know, where are we putting them? The kids or the games? The games are going to go from this case to this one. This is an 80-in-1 cartridge organizer. This was like the Amazon's choice item. And this will fit more than the Switch. So it looks like it does Switch, PS Vita, memory cards, you know, micro SD cards, and so the Switch and the Vita, basically. Because I don't see a Nintendo DS fitting in this one. So we're going to play around with that in a minute. B. Tabalba is here. Adam Louse is here. Master Billy Quizboy is here. Mario is here. This is a great stream for you to watch, Mario, because we have Mario Odyssey right there. We have PS from Germany, and me B Pro 3030 is here too. Excellent. Yeah, so I think what we'll do, let me just check my clip here, because I am in the process of putting together a video as we do this. And I see T. Cunningham on the Amazon chat says, I literally just bought some Switch game organizing cases this morning. Isn't that funny how the power of suggestion works? I wonder if the Amazon app knew that, which is why they notified you to watch this. That could be why that happened. So let me do, and I got this awesome shot here. So check it out. I have my NDI PTZ camera out, and look at the detail I can get. Hang on, let me get this situated here. So I'm going to get my cartridge here in front of the camera, and I have like a focal point. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? Look at the detail. So I've got to hold it out like this far. So I got the camera like super zoomed in, but there's like one spot where because I wanted to show the cartridges as we were going through, because if I had the boxes out, it would be a total mess. So I've got like just a big thing of games here. So I thought that would look kind of nice. Does that look good? So yeah, and the reason why, for those of you tuning in, this will be in the video. I just recorded this segment. The reason why I like the physical cartridges better is because I have more than one Switch in the household. So we have the Switch Lite, and then we've got the main one here. And the reason why I buy the physical games is that if I have a digital game loaded on this one, my kids can't play any other digital game on this one. It basically locks the entire account out of the other Switch while this one is playing the game. So if you have the physical games, obviously it's really easy to just swap them back and forth, which is what I do. So that's something that I end up doing here. Daniel Berry, I've heard about this. Have I licked a cartridge before? Yeah, I've heard that they have some kind of chemical on them, right, to keep it, to make it so the kids don't swallow them. And I think that that's a standard thing in the toy industry, if I'm not mistaken. But I have heard about that. And Drewy is watching on their Nintendo Switch, and they have Animal Crossing and Among Us. Yes, Among Us is a lot of fun. My kids like that game, although it's hard to... That game is... Among Us is hard to play with people you don't know, I found. Like, I think it's more fun with people that you know. And I was watching some streams. I guess there's a PC mod called Proximity Chat, where the dead ones can harass the ones that killed, that can harass the imposters. I thought that was kind of funny. T. Cunningham says, I've been buying games on sale recently, so I outgrew my Switch game holder. And yes, I'm sure Amazon and Google and everyone else knows I've been buying these games and need an organizational case. Here on Amazon, oh cool, so T. Cunningham is, I think it's Travis Cunningham, if I'm not mistaken, is here after the wrap-up video yesterday talking about all the stuff that I do on Amazon. Yeah, if you want to follow me on Amazon, please do, because it helps the channel, helps the whole operation. George is here. Hello. And Me Pro here. You know what I'll do is I'll put my Nintendo Switch name up. So if you want to friend me, let me go in there. Where's my profile? I have to go this way. Hang on. Let me go up here. So if you want to friend me, you can friend me. Here's my friend code. And if you ever see me in Animal Crossing, you can friend me. So there you go. Say hi. Buying the OLED Switch, Sunny D wants to know. Probably not. You know, if they had done like a 4K upscale thing, I would have probably jumped at it. But I'm happy with the one that I have. It looks great on my OLED TV upstairs, so I kind of have an OLED Switch already, right? So that one I kind of like quite a bit. Donald Newman says, nice. Drury has only 3 physical games, Pokemon Sword, DLC, Super Mario Maker 2, and Animal Crossing. I have all of those except Pokemon Sword. I don't have that one. A random dude is here. Mark Smith wants to know, have I seen the Paw Kitty 4K HD system? I have not. What is that? Let me know what that is. I haven't even heard of that before. Ed R says it's like New Age NES cartridges. Yeah, they're cool. You know, like I'm guessing there are probably some long-term flash memory that they use on these, but they hold as much as a DVD does. And yeah, I just like having the physical games. I mean, there's an old school retro aspect to that, but I think it's also, you know what's good about this is that, you know, I'll talk about this on my intro to the video that I shot right before I started streaming. What I like about the physical games is that they retain their value. So for example, like if I look at, here, let's go on Amazon to Animal Crossing, for example. So, because I recently bought a second copy of Animal Crossing because both my kids wanted to play at the same time. So Animal Crossing used a year later is still selling for almost $40. The game new is $45. So, you know, like when my kids are done with the game, you know, I can get a bulk of that investment back. Sometimes 2/3 of what I paid for the game I get back. It's almost like a Game Pass subscription in the sense that you have all this equity in these games. You know, which makes it, though, by the way, risky when you travel with all of your games, because if you lose this stack of games, there's probably a couple $100 worth of games in here, right? So, you know, there's some value to, so you gotta be, I'm very careful about what I bring with me on trips. I don't bring all of my games with me. I just bring the ones that I know I'll want to play. So in some sense, there's greater security of your investment with digital if you're a single console household. But there's tremendous value in these games after the fact. So for example, we finished Luigi's Mansion 3. That's another game that's been out for a while, right? And that one, new, is still $50. Used, $43, right? So it's pretty good stuff. Connor is here. George is saying, I can't believe I just heard you right. They lock you out of playing any game if you're doing one. Yes, so here's the deal. So when you buy a digital game, so I have the family share plan on Nintendo Online. So that means that my kids can play like Tetris 99 and the NES games and the Super Nintendo games and stuff. But here, I'll give you a great example right now. So let's say we load up Among Us. Here, let me get rid of this. So if I load up Among Us on the console here, and I'm going to log in as me, and I'm just going to start. I have a backup sync flaw here. Long story. All right, so we got that going there, and now I'm going to go over to my other switch here. So the game's open. All right, and what I'm going to do now is go over to this one, and I'm going to load Among Us. I got to do an update apparently. Hang on, let me get this thing on the internet. Give me a second. I'll show you the whole problem. I did a whole video on this, and unfortunately, things have not changed with this either. So that's been kind of the frustration here. So let me get. I gotta say though, I really like this one, the portable one, because it's got a better D-pad than what comes with the, it comes with the other one. Okay, so. All right, so I got to update the software real quick. So let's do the update. I haven't loaded this up on here in a while. Let me get my birth date in on this one. My kids like the concept of Among Us, but we don't have anybody really to play with, so besides ourselves. But it's cross-platform, so I can load it up on the PC and the kids can play it on the Switch. But we had trouble. Like I said, I think it works better with friends. All right, so now if I go, so I'm just going to leave it on the main screen here. Okay, so now we're going to go to this switch, and let's go to Among Us. All right. Now I'm going to load it up first under my daughter's account, and it's not going to load because I purchased it under mine, right? So it's going to check. And this user cannot play this software because this user didn't purchase it. So now we have to go in and load it under my account. Now I would understand if it didn't want to play Among Us on this one right now because, let's just see what happens here. Is it going to let me start it? I may be looking like a fool here. Hang on, let's see if this, oh, there it goes. Yeah, so it says play is suspended. Here, I'll give you what it says here on screen. Play is suspended. Downloaded software may not be played on another console using the same Nintendo account. So now, look, I would get it for this game, right? Because we're trying to load the same game up. So, okay, fine. All right, so let's say I want to play. Have you ever tried this game? This game's fun. Burger Time Party. Okay, so I want to play Burger Time Party. So my kid's on Among Us on my console upstairs. And I want to play Burger Time on this one. So I go to here. And it teases you because it's going to pretend to load the game. And then we're going to get that message again. Maybe. Yep. See? Now, different games, right? So on Steam, if I'm not mistaken, I can go to my gaming computer upstairs, load up a different game, and my kid can be playing on a different computer with the same account, right? Not here. You're locked out. So that's why I buy the games physically whenever I can. Because otherwise, you're out of luck. So there you go. All right, so let's take a look here. Ando Gamer, what is my favorite game for the Nintendo Switch? That is a good question. I have a lot of favorite games on the Switch, and I play a bunch of them. So I like Tetris 99. I like that Burger Time game. I like some of the quicker pick-up and plays. But you know what? I have really enjoyed playing a lot of games with my kids. So we played, it was funny because I got Super Mario Odyssey when my kids were younger. And then when my daughter got older, she wanted to play the game. So we actually played through the whole game on her account. And so this is I think it's just a really fun game. We've been playing around a little bit with Mario Party. We've been having a lot of fun with 3D World and Bowser's Fury. So we're actually towards the end of 3D World right now. And that one's pretty chaotic when you have multiple players. And you're going to hear me say all this again when we go back through. My daughter, my 8-year-old, is really like I'm trying to really get her more into this, but she's like really, when she sits down and actually focuses on it, she is into this. This is Game Builder Garage, and it actually has more depth than you might think. There's a lot of code that you can build in there. It's like super high level code. It's all GUI based, so it's a lot of fun. So my daughter has been she just finished like the first couple of tutorials, and she's starting to really get the concepts. And what's nice is that the programming language, if you will, is very similar to Scratch, what the kids use in school, which is that graphical thing where you connect graphical elements together. So it's a nodal, I guess, based kind of thing. So she's been really into that. Both of my kids loved Luigi's Mansion 3. We didn't like Paper Mario that much. I just have, you know, the game has to grab me, and that one hasn't really grabbed me yet. We're going to probably do Toad's Treasure Tracker next week. I played through a little bit of that already. Dead Cells is fun. Dragon Quest Builders I like quite a bit. I haven't finished that yet. I'm kind of stuck there, so I've got to get back into that. Yeah, we've got a lot of games. Because they go on sale, and then you just buy them, right? So Sonic Mania is awesome. 3D All-Stars, we've been playing that a bit. My kids really like Mario Odyssey more than anything. I loved Breath of the Wild. I thought that was a really awesome. It was a real that is like the first Zelda game since Zelda 2 that I played all the way through. So I really enjoyed that one. Link's Awakening, I'm almost done with that. My wife was really into that one. She was like totally hooked on it. Xenocrisis, this is a fun one. This is kind of like they actually wrote it for the Sega Genesis. So there's a couple of these retro games now which play awesome on the Switch and on the Xbox and some of the other consoles. But they coded the games to be specifically working within the limitations of like a 16-bit console. So it's been really fun to see how modern game developers can take all of the modern game concepts that we've come to appreciate on these consoles, but then work within the creative restrictions of older technology. And it creates really fun and creative games. And this Xenocrisis, that's definitely one of them. So that's what we got there. PS wants to know, what is the dock behind my Switch? We're going to get to that in a minute, actually. I did a whole video on this. This is kind of a neat dock. We'll get to that in just a minute. It looks like a GameCube, doesn't it? So that one is a lot of fun. Actually, you know what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to adjust my PTZ camera here because I am going to get that thing in frame because we're going to talk about it. So watch this. We're going to go take off the thing here. Let's go move this out of the way. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to, I was just going to do this as a stream, and now I'm thinking it might be a good video. So that's what we're going to do. There we go. So let's move it down a little bit here. Yeah, I'll show you what I'm doing here in a second. All right, so now we've got that shot. But check this out, because this is a PTZ camera. If I go, actually, let me just do one thing real quick. If I go and watch this. If I go put my cartridge back out where I had it before, okay, I hit this button. Isn't that cool? It's like it's automatically switching. Let's get that. There we go. Get it in, focused in frame there. Perfect. And then I can just go hit camera 12. Isn't that neat? So that's my PTZ camera. I'm still trying to get the color to match my other cameras with this one. It's a little tricky. This is a Bird Dog P100, I believe, or SD100. It's a good camera. Bruce is asking also about what those cartridges taste like. I heard they taste awful, so we're not going to taste them today. And Atomizer X says, another huge benefit to the Switch cartridges is that they're cheaper than digital purchases because high-capacity micro SD cards are expensive and the Switch can't use USB storage. Yeah, I guess that's true. You know, because you do have to buy the SD card on top of the game. So I'll give you that. Bruce is asking, if I were buying a Switch, should I go with the new OLED or would it be fine to buy the old one? Well, you know what's funny is you're not going to find any deals on the old one unless you buy a refurb. Nintendo is very good at supply constraints. It's been kind of they've been good at that for their whole of their existence, right? So I would say the OLED is going to be nice handheld, but if you're going to be plugged into a TV most of the time like I am, it's probably not going to be as good because you're not going to really get the benefit of it. And the new one, so this is the launch Switch. This is the one that I got this day one. So there's a revision that looks identical to this, which is the current iteration, that gets much better battery life than this one does. And so that you're not going to have much of a benefit beyond the OLED screen on the new one. Mr. Pixel has a suggestion here, which it kind of reminds me of how they used to work with those floppy disks back in the Famicom days. They used to have a disk system in Japan where you could go to the store and load the game on a floppy disk, and you have your disk, you load the game up, and then when you were done with it, you went back and put another one on, almost like a rental, but you could keep it as long as you want. Connor likes Among Us. Our friend Chris Allegretta is here. Old Switches seem to have a problem with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth range after a while. You know what the big problem I have with this Switch is that it doesn't roam from one Wi-Fi access point to the next. It hangs on to, so I have one down here in the basement, and then there's one actually upstairs right next to the console that it never switches to because it hangs on to the basement one all the time. So I did upstairs, I got a USB Ethernet adapter to just plug it in there. That's what I usually do. Mark Smith says, lots of YouTube traffic. Hey, what am I getting on this? Yeah, we got about 98 so far. Lots of YouTube traffic on this one. You should put your plea to sign up on Amazon. Yeah, so if you all want to follow me on Amazon, click on the link in the video description and you can follow me on Amazon because I do these streams in 2 different places. So that's what I do there. Let me go back to my other page here. Connor has a Wii U. I have a Wii U. I haven't used it in a while. Andreas is here from Greece. Hello. Yes, we got Wheel of Fortune. I'll show you that one in a little bit. Mark Smith wants to know, do I get a 300,000 trophy from YouTube? No, they cut it off at 100,000. So you get 100,000 and then 1 million. So I've got another 700,000 to go. I may not get to the 1 million. We'll see. Yeah, I never got into Stardew Valley. I've seen it. It just looks like it's something I'm going to get sucked into, so I've been really reluctant to try it. So I haven't bought it yet. George says, oh yeah, Game Builder Garage did a bunch of videos. Yeah, there's some really, you know what's fun is just the amount of creativity people have when they get their hands on that stuff. It's really fun. Travis Cunningham on Amazon. I have a mesh network, and I noticed the same issue with my Switch. Clinging to each node. Not a major issue. I play docked. Yeah, what I usually do is I just manually force the connection. In fact, I just did that with both of these because the new one here, which has got a newer chipset, it also does not roam in the house. So that has been an issue. Martin Paulini is here. Zero Turn says, Switch Lite primary for eShop, non-primary for gameplay. OG Switch, non-primary, eShop, primary for gameplay only. Drewy did taste the cartridges and said they taste awful. I would agree with Spy and Gecko because I think you get the best display, a larger display. I'm totally with you on that. Drewy got his Switch on eBay brand new for $300. Bruce said I once licked a 9-volt battery. It was not pleasant. I still remember the taste, so I will never do that again. For sure. And Drew says that is a V1. Yep, this is a V1. I got this. In fact, here's where the Switch has such a special place in my heart. Beyond the fact that my kids and I really enjoy spending time together playing video games on rainy days like today. But what's really fun about the Switch is that this is the first thing that I reviewed as a full-time YouTuber. So the day that I went full-time was the day the Switch came out. Isn't that funny? So this was like the very first thing that I reviewed as a full-timer. And I remembered like the day I was working on that video, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome to have so much time to work on this. Because like I never had time to spend the time on the reviews that I really wanted to. So yeah, this thing came out and I got one day one. I was lucky that I was able to find a place to order it from without having to spend a premium either. Fast 2 Furious has the Animal Crossing edition of the Nintendo Switch. I love Animal Crossing. I hope they keep updating it. We've had a lot of fun with the holidays and the special events, and that's a game I don't think I would have played if I didn't have kids. But now that I have played it, I will play it even if my kids are grown up and out of the house at some point in the future. So, Spy and Gecko modified their Switch so they can overclock it. That's awesome. Mark Smith says, any difference in models besides color? Yeah, so the older model, like the one I have, does not get the battery life that the newer model does. That's the big difference. And now, of course, with the OLED one, you get a better screen and more memory. But the big difference is that the new models are more power efficient. They have a different processor. It's a different revision of the Tegra X1. Incidentally, that also went into the NVIDIA Shield, and that's why they run at a lower temperature now. All right. Let's see. I'll take a few more, and then we'll get into the collection here. P-Pro 3030. What is my view about game developers bringing down a DL from the online store compared to owning the physical games? I've contemplated that they can push out an update to brick physical games. I mean, I guess they could brick a physical game. That would not make them very popular, right? I actually like what Limited Run is doing because it's kind of the best of both worlds in that you can get a physical version of the game. And I have one of these, by the way. In fact, I've done reviews of these cartridges. So if you check out I have a whole flash cartridge series that I've done. So I've got a bunch of them, those flash cartridges. I need a first-gen Switch so I can back up all my physical games to micro SD card. I don't play online at all, so I wouldn't care if it was a banned console. Yeah, I'm not sure I can help you on that one, unfortunately. But this one is definitely a first-gen. It is very first-gen. Sebastian's been playing Phoenix Rising today. Awesome game, but very demanding on the Switch. First time I've heard The Fan. That's interesting. You know what I have upstairs? We did a live stream about this a while ago. I bought one of these dock conversion kits that takes the big dock and turns it into a smaller one that you can travel with. So that's something that I've got. This one that I've got here is from a company called Brook. And we'll talk about these in a second. I've got it in the Amazon. I think I do. Hang on a second. Let me see if I added it. Oops. Let me make sure I have it on my product carousel. If I don't, I will add it. So, I didn't put it on here. Let me go add this real quick. So if you are watching on Amazon, I'm going to add this to the product carousel. And this is a cool dock. I already reviewed this, so we're not going to spend too much time with it in the video that I'm working on today. But this dock that I've got here, and I'll pull it up on my second camera here, it's kind of cool. So it has, this one actually has a Bluetooth thing built in for headphones. And then there's one without. What's this button do? There's buttons all over the place on this thing. So what you can do with this is you can plug in GameCube controllers, which will show up as Pro controllers. So I actually have one down here. So I could plug in this GameCube controller and use it with Smash Brothers, for example. So that's pretty neat. And then it's got, you know, your USB ports and stuff on it. It doesn't come with a power supply, so you want to bring your own for that. And that's probably the safest bet, especially on the older console, because Nintendo did some weird stuff with the power on these things, and some of the early third-party docks were bricking the consoles. So I would be careful about that. And T. Cunning, Travis reminds me to add the 8-bit-do. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the 8-bit-do controller too. So let me add that to my list as well. So, and then we'll kind of step through. And I've reviewed all these things separately. So I'm gonna just be referencing these. But if you go on my channel, I do have it in there. Good. If you go on my channel, you will find reviews of all of this stuff. I don't think I've reviewed. The only thing I don't think I've reviewed here is this case, but we'll talk about it briefly, and I'll probably pull this out for the video. And Brianna's got some game requests. Yeah, we're going to go through a couple of different games here. But I'm going to stick to the physical ones because the video that I'm making today is about my physical collection. And I wanted to show some games that people may not have seen before or know that are available physical. And I've got one that I haven't opened up yet. So we will go from there. Question about my Starlink connection. So I have paused my Starlink service, not because it was bad, just because I didn't need it right now. So what I had intended to do was buy the Starlink dish as a backup for when we have another storm here. We just had a tropical storm the other day. Thankfully, it wasn't much of anything. But typically around here, we lose power for like a week when we get hit. And I've got a generator, but if any of the wires between me and our Comcast head end are broken, I'm out. So the Starlink will be used in emergencies. But a friend of mine around the corner has it. He kept his service, and he's loving it. He says it's great. All right. So, and Gorman's got going to hold out on the OLED until they let us know what kind of panel they're using. So we'll have to check out exactly what panel they use on it when it comes out. It's going to look great, though. It is only 720p still, though, so we'll have to see. Sebastian wants to know, is the Brook Dock USB-C class? I think it is. Check the product listing that I've got. If you click the link, you'll see it on the product carousel on the Amazon page. I'm pretty sure it does meet the requirement. But like I said, I'm using the Nintendo power adapter with it just to be safe, again, because I've got the old one. So we'll have to check that out. I did see this, Mark Smith, about yeah, I don't know what that guy was thinking. I mean, really? Put it on the roof at least, right? That's funny. All right, so why don't we go through the accessories, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so I ended the last clip on me. So we'll go to start this clip here. So we're going to record, and I'll just kind of talk about all the different things that I've got. And let's see if, yeah, that'll probably work well. I think I might zoom this out just to, yeah, let's do it in the overhead. That's how we'll do that one. Okay. All right. So let's begin. 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's start off with some of the accessory items I have. And again, I don't have many. The first one is this little Joy-Con replacement. I reviewed this previously. In fact, a lot of these things you're going to see I've actually done full videos about, so I'll link to them down in the video description. Now, this is the Hori GameCon replacement, and what I like about it is that it gives you a really nice directional pad, which is much better than the Joy-Con pads that Nintendo has on their controllers here. Now, I can obviously just slip this thing on very easily, and it clips right into place just like the other ones do. The stick feels very much the same as the original sticks on the Nintendo ones. I've had this for a while. I'm not seeing any Joy-Con drift, so everything has been pretty good with this. The only downside is that this does not work when it's detached. It has to be connected all the time. But if you're a Tetris 99 player like I am, or you play a lot of the retro games on the system, you'll want to get something like this just because it's a much better D-pad than what Nintendo includes in the box. Now, you might be wondering about this dock that I have here. This is a dock from a company called Brook. This is their Power Bay. There are 2 versions of this, and in full disclosure, they sent this to the channel free of charge. And you'll notice this looks a lot like a GameCube, and that's because you can plug in GameCube controllers, like the one I've got here, to play games like Super Smash Brothers and whatnot. There are some limitations to it because there are mapping issues, obviously. The GameCube controller doesn't have all the controls that a regular Switch controller has these days, but for games that work with it, it's actually a neat feature. And those, of course, go hardwired in to the device here, and those controllers end up interconnecting over the USB port on the Switch console. I am using my Nintendo power adapter, though, for the dock, just to be safe. But I have been using this for a little while now, and it's been pretty good. There are 2 editions of this. One has a Bluetooth radio built in for headphones. The other one doesn't. So you can decide which one you need, and the one without Bluetooth obviously costs less. And it's pretty portable. So as you can see here, it's something you can very easily pack up in a bag with you, and they have a nice protector that goes over the USB-C port, so you can throw it in a bag without really having to get a carrying case or something like that. So that is the Brook Dock, and I've done a full review of this that you can check out on its Amazon product page. All right, that was a good run. So we'll start off with this part here. So we're going to say Hori controller and Brook Dock. And I'll just want to do a disclaimer to let people know that I bought the controller with my own funds. I'm just going to play this back real quick just to make sure I'm happy with it. 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's start off with some of the accessory items I have. And again, I don't have many. The first one is this little Joy-Con replacement. I reviewed this previously. In fact, a lot of these things you're going to see I've actually done full videos about, so I'll link to them down in the video description. Now, this is the Hori GameCon replacement, and what I like about it is that it gives you a really nice directional pad. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll start back on me and just let people know that I paid for this with my own funds. Okay, so we got that. So let me finish that up. All right. Everybody having fun? We're having fun. All right. 3, 2, 1. And I should also add that I paid for the Joy-Con replacement here with my own funds. Now, the next thing I want to show you is another controller. This one did come in free of charge from the manufacturer, but I have bought some of these in the past as well. This is the 8BitDo Pro 2, and this is about as close to a universal game controller as you're going to get. And what I like about it is that they've merged the PlayStation design with the Super Nintendo design, and it really works well. It's very comfortable. I did a full review of this one as well, so you can check that out. It feels great. It works with my PC. It works with my phones. It works with... Actually, I got to start this again because it doesn't quite work with all the phones. Let me start it one more time. We'll just do another take here. This is how it works when I make videos. I don't script anything. I just kind of do it. And eventually, like, I do it enough times and it starts to work. And I found that it's quicker to do it this way than it is to write a script and futz around with a teleprompter. And it's more natural, too, I think, is how it works for me. So bear with me here for a minute, folks. OK. Let's try this again. And 3, 2, 1. Now, I should also mention that I paid for the Hori controller here with my own funds, and these are not too expensive either. So again, if you're looking for a good D-pad for your Switch in portable mode, check it out. Another controller that we're going to look at is one that was sent to me by the manufacturer free of charge. This is the 8BitDo SN Pro 2. And I have bought controllers from 8BitDo over the years as well because I really like what they have been putting together. They started off making these replica retro controllers, and then they started kind of branching off into new directions. And this is the best controller they have ever put together, and it's one of my favorite controllers. It's about as close to a universal game controller as you're ever going to get. It'll work with the Switch, it'll work with the PC, it'll work with Android phones. There are ways to get it working with iOS phones, but the compatibility is not quite there yet. They have a really nice clip for it, so you can attach your phone to the end of it for Game Pass and stuff. And they've really kind of merged the PlayStation controller design with a Super Nintendo design with an awesome D-pad here. So I use this one quite a bit for Tetris 99 and some of the classic retro games when I'm on my television. Very low latency, just an awesome little controller with a built-in rechargeable battery. This one actually is very customizable, so you can adjust the sensitivity and dead zones of the sticks. They've got some buttons here that you can use for macros and stuff. It's just a really nice controller, not that expensive, a nice alternative to the Pro controller if you're having trouble finding one or you want a better D-pad, because the Nintendo Pro controller doesn't have a good D-pad. And again, you can see more information on this in my full review. That was good. This might be like a nice branching off video for all of the other things, because I've reviewed all of this stuff. And what's interesting is the stuff that I continue to use are the things that I like to remind people about. So that was good. Let me just play that back real quick, and we'll move on. 3, 2, 1. Now, I should also mention that I paid for the Hori controller here with my own funds, and these are not too expensive either. So again, if you're looking for a good D-pad for your Switch in portable mode, check it out. Another controller that we're going to look at is one that was sent to me by the manufacturer free of charge. This is the 8BitDo SN Pro 2. And I have bought controllers from 8BitDo over the years as well because I really like what they have been putting together. They started off making these replica retro controllers, and then they started kind of branching off into new directions. And this is the best controller they have ever put together, and it's one of my favorite controllers. It's about as close to a universal game controller as you're ever going to get. It'll work with the Switch, it'll work with the PC, it'll work with Android phones. There are ways to get it working with iOS phones, but the compatibility is not quite there yet. They have a really nice clip for it so you can attach your phone to the end of it for Game Pass and stuff. And they've really kind of merged the PlayStation controller design with a Super Nintendo design with an awesome D-pad here. So I use this one quite a bit for Tetris 99 and some of the classic retro games when I'm on my television. Very low latency, just an awesome little controller with a built-in rechargeable battery. This one actually is very customizable, so you can adjust the sensitivity and dead zones of the sticks. They've got some buttons here that you can use for macros and stuff. It's just a really nice controller, not that expensive, a nice alternative to the Pro controller if you're having trouble finding one or you want a better D-pad, because the Nintendo Pro controller doesn't have a good D-pad. And again, you can see more information on this in my full review. Okay, I can live with that one. All right, so we're going to go into portability. And then, yes, that'll kind of lead us to the game component, I think, if we do it this way. Now, Mark Smith wants to know, did they port Lemmings? You know, I don't think they have. And you know something? They came out with this mobile version of Lemmings, and it's an abomination. It's like one of these, you know, free-to-play microtransaction garbage games. It's horrible what they did to Lemmings. I'll just leave it at that. I think I did a video a while ago expressing my disdain over what they did to Lemmings. And Drury agrees with the D-pad on the, the D-pad on the Pro controller. The Pro controller, it's a disappointment too because it's so comfortable and the sticks are great. Like, it's great for the modern games, but the retro games, forget it. That's why you want to go there. Gamer Boy is here. Hello. Cozy Cherry says 8BitDo is really out there. And nice from NPJ777. The Brook does not have Ethernet built in, but it does have Bluetooth. At least I don't think it has Ethernet. No Ethernet, but it does have Bluetooth. Did I say it had Ethernet? I don't think I did I? So upstairs, so I have a USB Ethernet upstairs, but it does not have Ethernet on board. All right, so now we're going to go into the cases that I have, and we'll go from there. And then we'll talk about the systems. So I think we'll do the case and then the systems. All right, 3, 2, 1. Now for portability, I bought this case from Hori a while back. I really like the Hori stuff. I think I remember them from the 90s, and I've always found their products to be high quality. This is nothing crazy. It's just a case for the larger Nintendo Switch. So this will accommodate the Joy-Cons attached, and also has about 5 games that you can stick in the top portion here. There's a little cartridge slot thing for your game. Let me start that again. I did not like the way that one was going. Let's do one more take on that one. Oops. 3, 2, 1. Now this next item is something I use for transporting my Nintendo Switch when I'm traveling. It's funny, for a long time I didn't take my Switch anywhere because they didn't have a backup cloud system for the save games. So when they finally got that, I started taking the Switch with me on trips more often. I didn't want to lose the time investment that I had in some of my games. This case I bought from Amazon. This is a Hori case. I just like the Hori brand. It's something that I've been happy with for many, many years. And this case isn't bad. It's just, you know, it's kind of your simple travel case, but it will hold the Nintendo Switch with its Joy-Cons attached here perfectly. This one, of course, is designed for the big Switch, the dockable one, if you will. The Switch Lite, of course, will fit in there, but it'll move around quite a bit. This one fits the whole package here really nicely. And then they've got this nice flap that will protect the screen. So it's got a nice soft fabric to it, and there's some padding here. So if you, put a little pressure on the top of the case here, it's not going to result in a screen crack. Although you do want to be careful not to crush this, because even though this is a harder, it's kind of a soft shell case, although it does have a little bit of rigidity to it, but it won't survive being crushed in a bag by books or something, so just be aware of that. And then you've got room here for carrying 5 games with you. Those will slip right into this elastic holder. And because you've got the screen protector here, you could also maybe put a charging cable or something here in this section of the case, because the screen is protected while you're traveling. Pretty simple, not that expensive. It works great for me, and that's what I like to travel around with. All right. I'm not even sure they make this case anymore. I bought it like right when things came out. So let me put this back on the dock here, and we'll go and update my recording list. I don't think I've done a video on this, so this little snippet will become a video of the Hori case. It's a perfect short little video. Let's watch that real quick. 3, 2, 1. Now this next item is something I use for transporting my Nintendo Switch when I'm traveling. It's funny, for a long time I didn't take my Switch anywhere because they didn't have a backup cloud system for the save games. So when they finally got that, I started taking the Switch with me on trips more often. I didn't want to lose the time investment that I had in some of my games. This case I bought from Amazon. This is a Hori case. I just like the Hori brand. It's something that I've been happy with for many, many years. And this case isn't bad. It's just, it's kind of your simple travel case, but it will hold the Nintendo Switch with its Joy-Cons attached here perfectly. This one, of course, is designed for the big Switch, the dockable one, if you will. The Switch Lite, of course, will fit in there, but it'll move around quite a bit. This one fits the whole package here really nicely. And then they've got this nice flap that will protect the screen. So it's got a nice soft fabric to it, and there's some padding here. So if you, put a little pressure on the top of the case here, it's not going to result in a screen crack. Although you do want to be careful not to crush this, because even though this is a harder, it's kind of a soft shell case, although it does have a little bit of rigidity to it, but it won't survive being crushed in a bag by books or something, so just be aware of that. And then you've got room here for carrying 5 games with you. Those will slip right into this elastic holder. And because you've got the screen protector here, you could also maybe put a charging cable or something here in this section of the case, because the screen is protected while you're traveling. Pretty simple, not that expensive. It works great for me, and that's what I like to travel around with. Okay, that was good. Question about the monitor. Now I'll put the question up on screen here so you can see what the question is. This monitor is a Lenovo monitor. This is a 1080p monitor that I got actually through the Amazon Vine program a long time ago. And I like it because it's really lightweight and I can easily take it off the desk and put it back on again. It's got a nice image, 75 hertz actually, maximum. I think it supports FreeSync too, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a nice screen. It's actually been dropped a few times and it hasn't broken yet. So this is like my workhorse 1080p display. And then I've got an LG 4K display that I use for 4K stuff. But I really like this display quite a bit. It works really well. And it looks fairly modern, even though it's a couple of years old at this point. So it's pretty good stuff. All right, so let's see what else we have to do here. I don't have many accessories, I really don't. All right, so that's where we left off. So we'll start back up on me. And then I think we'll talk about the game organizing. Maybe I'll talk about the consoles and then we'll get into the game. I'm trying to think about this. Yeah, I think we'll do the game organizing next. That's what we'll do. Okay, so we're going to talk about organizing my games. And then we'll move on from there. All right, so let us talk about organizing the games. 3, 2, 1. Now, as I mentioned at the outset, I have a lot of physical games, and I've got a lot of cases for those physical games that I've got in a bookshelf that's away from the sun and everything. And I have kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I don't want my games in separate cases getting lost and everything else. So we've centralized all of the games into a single holder here. This is like a generic plastic holder. There is an Amazon Basics one of this. I think I paid for this with my own funds a while back. I'm pretty sure that I did. And it's pretty simple, but it works because the games get stored nice and securely in this. They snap in. They're a little hard to get out, so usually my kids bring this over to me because they feel like they might bend the games a little bit when they try to pull them out. But I like that they really hold themselves securely in here. And there's a bit of a buffer zone around the edges, so if you do happen to drop the case, there's actually some air gap here between the cartridges and the end of the case here. Snaps shut very securely, very inexpensive, and it works. But my problem is that I have run out of room in this case, and we'll go through all the games in a minute. So we have to transport everything from this case to a larger one. So what I did is I went out and bought this. This was the Amazon's choice. It's an 80-in-1 games organizer. I wasn't looking for much. This looks like it'll do what I need to do. It's a semi-hard case. This will fit Nintendo Switch games, but also PlayStation Vita games and SD cards. So if you've got a couple different systems that you want to store in here, you can do that. This case, by the way, has two slots that I can't make use of because they're designed for SD cards. And now that I'm looking at this, after all this time of owning it, I didn't realize, but I could actually pull the SD card holder out and give myself some extra room in here. So it does have an SD card holder here on one of the game slots, and that does come out. So you have the choice as to how you want to store things. But I still have two more games than I have room for at the moment. So we're going to transfer things over to this new 80-in-1 organizer. So let's get this thing out of the box. This is from a company called Sysma, and I bought this with my own funds. And as described, it is a soft shell case. Nothing crazy here. And it looks like it's exactly what I expected it to be, just kind of those elastic holders for the games, but that's fine. It'll work well, and I'll be able to store 80 physical games in this. It does have a bit of a smell to it, kind of that new plastic smell, so we'll have to take a look at that in a minute. But it's got some nice tabs on here, so you can very easily go between the fabric pages here of the case, and this will probably work well for me. So we'll start transferring our games over now and going through all the different games that I own on the Switch. All right, that works, I think. Let me just watch that real quick. Oops, I'm going to rename that one. Give me 1 second here, folks. I just got to update my log of clips so we can edit this later. So what I like to do, what's nice about live streaming, at least when I do it, is that I have an opportunity to use my time to connect with you, the viewers, and then I also have the opportunity while I'm live streaming to make a video, so I can maximize my time, right? And what I found in this business is that my time is very, I don't want to say that I narcissistically that my time is very valuable, but I have very limited time because by 5 o'clock I got to be done, and I try to get 3 or 4 videos uploaded every week. So it takes a while to get a video shot. That's probably my biggest, the biggest time component of what I do is making the videos, because I want to, you know what I mean, like the shooting of the video, it's unpredictable how long it might take me to make a video. It depends on how well I can get the words out that day. So okay, so let's do that real quick. I'm just gonna play this back if you don't mind. So yes, you will get some deja vu again, and I'm just gonna load that into my playlist here and have a look at it. So stand by. 3, 2, 1. Now, as I mentioned at the outset, I have a lot of physical games, and I've got a lot of cases for those physical games that I've got in a bookshelf that's away from the sun and everything. And I have kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I don't want my games in separate cases getting lost and everything else. So we've centralized all of the games into a single holder here. This is like a generic plastic holder. There is an Amazon Basics one of this. I think I paid for this with my own funds a while back. I'm pretty sure that I did. And it's pretty simple, but it works because the games get stored nice and securely in this. They snap in. They're a little hard to get out, so usually my kids bring this over to me because they feel like they might bend the games a little bit when they try to pull them out. But I like that they really hold themselves securely in here. And there's a bit of a buffer zone around the edges, so if you do happen to drop the case, there's actually some air gap here between the cartridges and the end of the case here. Snaps shut very securely, very inexpensive, and it works. But my problem is that I have run out of room in this case, and we'll go through all the games in a minute. So we have to transport everything from this case to a larger one. So what I did is I went out and bought this. This was the Amazon's choice. It's an 80-in-1 games organizer. I wasn't looking for much. This looks like it'll do what I need to do. It's a semi-hard case. This will fit Nintendo Switch games, but also PlayStation Vita games and SD cards. So if you've got a couple different systems that you want to store in here, you can do that. This case, by the way, has 2 slots that I can't make use of because they're designed for SD cards. And now that I'm looking at this, after all this time of owning it, I didn't realize, but I could actually pull the SD card holder out and give myself some extra room in here. So it does have an SD card holder here on one of the game slots, and that does come out. So you have the choice as to how you want to store things. But I still have 2 more games than I have room for at the moment. So we're going to transfer things over to this new 80-in-1 organizer. So let's get this thing out of the box. This is from a company called Sysma, and I bought this with my own funds. And as described, it is a soft shell case. Nothing crazy here. And it looks like it's exactly what I expected it to be, just kind of those elastic holders for the games, but that's fine. It'll work well, and I'll be able to store 80 physical games in this. It does have a bit of a smell to it, kind of that new plastic smell, so we'll have to take a look at that in a minute. But it's got some nice tabs on here, so you can very easily go between the fabric pages here of the case, and this will probably work well for me. So we'll start transferring our games over now and going through all the different games that I own on the Switch. Okay, I can live with that. All right, so I think we'll just start at the top here and kind of run our way through. Yeah, I think that's how we're going to do this. You know, actually, what I might do is I might organize this process by some of the games that we really don't need to spend too much time on. So I think there's like only a few that I actually want to boot up that people may not have seen before. So I'm going to separate it out a little bit here. I'm just going through this here. So, and some of this I might just try to do some capture later. Because I don't have all, you know, I should go find that Starlink thing. I think I have like the spaceship thing upstairs for the Starlink. Maybe I should go try to find that. And I'm just going through some of the, yeah, I'm probably going to want to integrate some footage. So you all tell me. I mean, a lot of these games are the common ones, and I think people want to, you know, people like going through a collection, but not all of these are all that interesting. So I think what I'll do is just kind of touch on them. I might bring in some B-roll later from Nintendo on these, so that might be how I do that. Let me take some questions here. Bruce says the deja vu is getting bad today. Yeah, it's not you, it's me. I'm actually doing that to you on purpose. So that is definitely all me. Let's get my controller booted up here again. Zoltan is here from Hungary. Hello. Chelsea says hello too, to Zoltan. Any productivity apps or tools to manage time? I got a bunch of them. I should do a video on my time management stuff. I am not a good time management person most of the time, but I do have my moments where I actually can get it done. So, yeah, I think I'm going to run through these games. I'm just going to run through them all, and then I'll integrate B-roll later. I think that's how we're going to do it. So why don't you all, while I am doing this, you tell me which ones you want to spend more time on. I think like this one in particular. Here, let me show you this one. I bought this game, Night Trap. I bought this specifically because at a congressional hearing in the 90s, Nintendo said that this game would never come out on their console. And look, here it is. Here it is. It exists. They were full of it. I mean, granted, they didn't know that this would be the case, but isn't that funny? They said this game will never be on a Nintendo system. Now it is. Isn't that funny? Yes, I don't have many like limited run titles here, although I do have one that I've got to open. And I also got Mario Tennis recently. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go through it all, and I'll leave like some of the more obscure ones towards the end. And we'll just kind of talk about it as we go through. And I think I just want to check one other thing on the Wheel of Fortune thing. What I should do is just have Jake come over here and capture a bunch of footage. So they've got like bundles also of like Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Okay, so this is the bundle here. So this is like, oops, I just lost it. Where'd it go? Gosh darn it. So this is the bundle of Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. The Jeopardy game is very different than your typical Jeopardy game. So that was one thing that I think I noted in my review that I did on Amazon for that one. I'll have to track that one down. Because then they have like game night. Right, there's game night, which I also have. Yes, so then there's game night, which has, let's get that focused here. There it goes. So then there's game night, and this one has Monopoly, Risk, and Trivial Pursuit Live. So I'm going to have to go back and research all of this because I have not played this one in a while. Like, yeah, so Monopoly kind of plays as you would expect it to play. But I think Trivial Pursuit is kind of more, we'll try this one out. I'm pretty sure Trivial Pursuit is more, yeah, we're going to check out those two games in a minute because I just want to make sure that I get it right. So maybe we'll pop that one in a second here. And the rest of them, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm getting into with these. So let's just go through the rest of them here. So we've got Ring Fit Adventure. I have not done much with Ring Fit Adventure yet. My daughter was playing with it. She was like just worked herself to like exhaustion, which was actually pretty good. Got her tired. My oldest, she's very, she is a sponge when it comes to doing anything. So she puts in like, you know, they say they put in the effort. Like this kid, she puts the effort in 120% on everything she does. It's really like awesome to see that because like it's not something I've been pushing her to be. You know what I mean? Like I just want her to be herself. But she is a very thorough. Like she puts herself fully into stuff. And now it's a matter of keeping her from burning out. You know, because she is like really. It's a good trait, but. You know, she just puts 120% into everything, even when she was playing these games. It's really kind of funny. Right now, we're obsessed with River City Girls. That's the one we've been playing quite a bit. I got some questions on Amazon here. Roger P. is here. Yeah, we did. We've been talking about the OLED screen for a little bit. Is it worth getting the one with the OLED screen? Yeah, that's going to be up to each individual. I think if you play a lot of handheld Switch, I think the OLED is a great choice for that. If you don't, I think the current one is fine because that screen's going to look great. It's going to be a beautiful screen for sure. All right, so you know what we're going to do then? We're going to kind of take a diversion here. I want to remember how some of these games play. So we are going to pop out the game that's in here, which is Mario Odyssey. I got games all over the place now. And we're going to throw in the game night game here. And let's see. So this is interesting because when you put this in, you get, it actually pops up 3 different games. Watch this. So we'll pop it out again. Oh, right, because it's all. So you actually get, it's a game cartridge, but it has 3 different games on it. Isn't that funny? So why don't we just grab, I just want to check Trivial Pursuit real quick. And of course, there's an update, so we'll grab that real quick. Because I just want to remember how these things play before we jump into it. Oh, this is terrible. So Martin was in the hospital for a week and could not play a single game on his Switch. It's insane. Yeah, that's exactly. This is exactly what I brought up in that video, is because it is such a pain on this digital stuff, which is why I bought all these games physical. It's exactly why I did it. And there's an update. I have not booted this up in a long time, so we're just going to let that load up real quick. All right. And I'll give you some sound here without blowing your eardrums out. So let me go and find my audio on that one. This is on the NewTek NDI. We'll just drop the volume down on that a bit. And we'll let it load up. You would think these games would load faster off of these things, but remember, these are like just flash cartridges essentially, so it's transferring data at the same rate that the SD card would. Oops, sorry everybody. Let me turn the volume down here. And I'm trying to remember, yeah, I think this is like, yeah, this is not quite your your father's Trivial Pursuit game. And I should probably just start capturing this real quick. And I got to add like another player here, huh? So let's do, here, we'll just detach my, I'm just going to pretend to be a second player. Oh, I can add an AI. Okay, let's do that. And then we're going to do an AI player, because I have no friends. So join game, join new profile, AI. Okay. All right, so begin game. Let's see how this plays out here. I haven't played this in a while. My kids are a little too young for these games, so I haven't done much with these. And I think, though, like when it comes to Monopoly and some of these board games, like I think those are the games that I'd want. I'd want to do the real physical board game. I just think that it allows for more face-to-face interaction than everybody looking at a screen together.
Answers to questions score you points, and points earn wedges. Each player competes to win wedges over 3 rounds. And because this is Trivial Pursuit, the first player to collect all 6 wedges wins the game. Okay, trivia time. First round. Quick starter. Let's take a look at the rules. As always, correct answers score you points. Each question is worth more than the last.
Yeah, it's more. This is more game show-like, isn't it?
Customs and cultures, landmarks and places, geography. Interesting.
I think that's good enough. I just wanted to get some B-roll footage captured of that, so we've got that now. So I'm just going to make a note of that in my thing here. And I'm pretty sure, let's go back out and just check the other games here, that Risk and Monopoly are more what you would expect. So let's just double check that real quick. Handheld, yeah. There's a lot of pieces on that Risk board, I think. Handheld Obsession, that's for sure. That is for sure. Carlos on Amazon says, I heard that unlicensed docks could damage the video out feature of the Switch. Yes, there are issues with the docks, but it more involves the power component to it. And the Brooks people insist that this dock is compatible, and they recommend that you use a they recommend that you use a Nintendo power supply, which is what we're doing here. I'll tell you what, though, you got to give them credit. They've definitely put in. I mean, there's definitely some work that went into this. It's not just like a simple port of a game, right? I'm just going to capture a little bit of B-roll for this while we've got it open here. Looks like I started a game a while ago that I haven't finished yet. But this more represents the board game, I think, than what you saw with Trivial Pursuit, which is actually good because Trivial Pursuit can be a really like slow board game to play. So there's definitely a higher paced feel to it. All right, so I got what I need out of this one, and let's go out to Monopoly real quick. Bruce says he's never played Risk. Oops, shoot, I just hit the wrong button on my thing here. Bruce said he's never played Risk. Let me send this back again here. But Trivial Pursuit destroyed siblings. Yeah, I think if you're the older kid, you do much better with that, don't you? I remember when Trivial Pursuit came out. My mom, I think it was what, around the late or mid 80s when it came out, and people were nuts about that game. And my mom got it. She got a bunch of like the add-on trivia cards for it. And she had parties where people were coming over to play Trivial Pursuit. I mean, it was nuts. It was crazy. Like I remember my mom like being totally into Trivial Pursuit, and all of her friends were too. It was like total chaos. All right, so this is Monopoly,
For Nintendo Switch.
and I'm pretty sure that this one plays like the original. Yes, I'm actually in the middle of a game here. So there's an online component, I think, to all of these.
Your time has come.
Now, I think you can buy these games digitally, separately, but this is like the package deal altogether.
You know what you're doing. It's time to find out whether you have good luck or bad luck.
Yeah, this will probably work.
It's your turn.
And this is like one of the computer players that's playing. But it's really a slow kind of, like when you're, you know what I mean? Like it takes as long as the board game does because you have to go through all these animations. I guess you could skip the whole animation thing to speed it up a little bit.
Persistence is the key to success.
But the graphics are cool. I mean, they definitely put some work into it, right? So it's not.
I wish you luck.
All right. Well, I think we got what we need out of this one. So that answered that question. And now I want to pop in the Wheel of Fortune. I'll get the thing centered here. So this is the Wheel of Fortune Jeopardy bundle. And like the other one, we'll see two games there. So let's pop this one in. Actually, I want to get a recording of this because it's going to put two games up on the. Okay, so we'll do 3. All right, so now, Wheel of Fortune is what you would expect Wheel of Fortune to be. Jeopardy, though, is different. So Jeopardy, if I'm not mistaken, Jeopardy, maybe I'm confused. Let me see how this one plays. I think it's like more of a multiple choice thing, which would make sense with a controller. But I remember Jeopardy playing very different. Gamer Royale wants to know, am I going to unbox the Atari VCS? Probably not. just because I don't know if it's long for this world, and I'd have to buy one. Handle the Session says, yeah, this was like a big deal for adults in the 80s. Like, Trivial Pursuit was crazy. And then the questions, I remember the questions from on the pack-in card thing were really hard, but they had like a kids edition that we also got. I'm sure my mom's got these at the house. Like, they would sell like these big bricks of trivia cards. In fact, I remember one night, my mom went over to somebody else's house to play Trivial Pursuit, and when they didn't like one of the question cards, they threw it in the fireplace and burned them. Like they were into this stuff. All right, so this is the opening to Jeopardy here. So let's get into the game, though.
This is Jeopardy!
And you know what's funny? There have been, I have been playing Jeopardy games since I was a little kid on my Apple II. All right, so they have an online component. So all these games look like they have online components. There's family mode and classic mode. So let's try the classic one first. I'm just trying to, again, just remember the sense of how this works. Because I seem to recall this being very different than
Introducing our contestants.
other Jeopardy games. And of course, they have the Jeopardy theme song playing, which is probably going to kill my channel. So let me take the audio off for a second. It was really sad to lose Alex Trebek, wasn't it? Yeah, I always knew him, obviously, from Jeopardy, but I didn't realize how good of a guy he was. All right, so here we go. So maybe this does play more like Jeopardy. I'm not sure. All right, so Jessica's going to choose. This playwright with a monthly name is the only African-American dramatist to have a Broadway theater named in his honor. All right, let's buzz here and see how this works. All right, so let's take another one here. I'm going to buzz in even if I don't know the answer. I know this is easy, right? Buzz. Oh, I don't know this. B. Yeah, so it's multiple choice. At least I got it right. It looks smart. Did you know that I was on a game show once? I will tell you which one in a second. Okay. Got what I need out of this one. So Jeopardy is a little bit more like Jeopardy, just multiple choice. So it was Trivial Pursuit that was the real different. And you know what? While we're here, we may as well do the B-roll for Wheel of Fortune just for the heck of it. Get it done now. So the game show I was on this is way back in the early days of MSNBC. They had, this was when Microsoft was partnered with them. That's why they call it MSNBC. And they had a game show called Remember This, and it was hosted by Al Roker. So it was a college game show. And I remember buying a sweatshirt to go on the show with, right? And I still have the sweatshirt upstairs. It still fits, believe it or not. But so we had, it was a professor that went, professor I still talk to quite frequently, my professor, Mr. Desmond, who's a mass communications professor. And they had a little audition at our school, and then they picked 4 of us to go out. And I was the alternate, but I got to play in one of the tapings. And I was the campus weatherman when I was on campus. So like when they do the meet the contestant thing, like that was kind of fun. I have a tape of it somewhere. I can't find the tape, and it's killing me. But we ended up losing. We lost really bad, partly because the school the school that we were up against in one of the rounds, there was no students at all. They were all professors. And I was like, that's a racket. Like they should have, all students, right? Or it was supposed to be like one professor and 3 students, or one professor and 2 students, I think was how it was supposed to go. This other school, 3 professors. That was not good. And so I don't know. I don't think you won anything, even if you did win. But they put us up for the night in New York City at Times Square. And then my parting gift was a Microsoft Encarta CD-ROM. That was what I got. And it came like 6 months later. I remember getting it. I was like, that's it? Encarta? Yeah, so a lot of folks don't realize that. Yeah, so Microsoft paired up with MS. So the way it worked, this was right when the internet was becoming a thing, right? Like the web, the World Wide Web. And so Microsoft was aggressively trying to conquer the web. So they had Internet Explorer. They integrated it with Windows 95. And when they did that integration, that's what got the whole antitrust thing going. So like they were super aggressive about like trying to control the internet. And so what they wanted to do was set up, because back then, believe it or not, it's actually now how things work, or beginning to work again now. Back then, you could not get news for free for the most part online. So like CNN had just started their website, and MSNBC was also free, and Microsoft ran the website part, and NBC ran the cable television part of it. And so they built a website. So it was like an online thing from the start with them. And so like CNN and MSNBC were the 2 big online news outlets, and Microsoft ran the other part. But that's why they call it MSNBC. Now, Microsoft is no longer part of it, but they kept the MSNBC name. Roger P. Splatoon 2 is his favorite game. Doris, my niece is 12 and has a DS. Any new game suggestions? I would love to get some thoughts there. There are not many new games, although if your niece is 12 and has a DS, Animal Crossing New Leaf would be a great game to get for the DS. That is the prior version of Animal Crossing to the one that's out now. But I know a lot of people like that one. So, but I don't have many DS games. Are you talking about a DS or a 3DS? That's the other question. You know, I've never played this game before. All right, so let's just do a quick little thing here with this. This seems to like play the way you would expect. I can't imagine it not. Yeah, Doris, find out if she has a DS or a 3DS, because those are, like, they sound the same, but they're very different. So the 3DS is the current generation, and the DS was the prior one. All right, here's all of our characters here. It doesn't look like Pat Sajak, does it? They probably would have to license them separately. Oh, so you're kind of solving the puzzle. Yeah, but this is like, yeah, it's standard. Oh, I see. I'm trying to solve this. I'm not doing a very good job of it. Good enough. I just wanted to make sure it was like what I expected it to be. So let's just add that as some B-roll. Yeah, this is one of those videos that's going to take on a lot of extra work. Like this is, I am friendly with Metal Jesus Rocks, and like he spends most of his time capturing B-roll for the games that he features. And it takes a while. You got to load up the game, you got to get into the game, you got to do all this stuff. It's not, it's time consuming. But at least now we know what's on these games, so we can kind of continue onward here in the production of this video that we're doing here. So let me just see where we ended up. Okay, so why don't we go from one thing to the other here. All right, so I'm going to set aside a couple of the less common games, and we're going to open up one too. So we're going to open up this one, and this one's actually my only import game, but my understanding is that the Nintendo Switch is not region locked, so we should be able to play these games here. Okay. And I think I'll put these over here, because I think these games, yeah, so we'll talk about those Wheel of Fortune ones separately. I'm just trying to get my head organized here as to how I want to go through it. Because like for the most part, I've got some pretty common games here. All right, that's still in the thing here, that's why, okay. All right. Because a few that I want to talk about, and then a few of the others we will just kind of continue onward with. Now, the other one that's interesting is Civilization 6. So this one, and I'll get it in my fancy camera here. So this one, this came in free of charge from the Amazon Vine program a while back. And what's neat is that you can synchronize your game with the PC version. So you could play it on the PC and then take it with you on the road. I thought that was pretty cool. So let me make a note on that. Civilization 6 Switch Sync PC. Yeah, so you have to have a 2K account, but you can do cross-platform games with Steam and that. So I think that's how we'll focus on that one. All right, so we're going to go through like my more common games first and just kind of rip through that, and then we'll get to the other stuff. All right. Yeah, I think that's how we'll do it. And I think I'll start with Breath of the Wild because everybody has that one, right? And where is Mario Kart? Hang on a second. So Zelda. Okay, so we'll start with these two. So Mario Kart, and then it's going to find Breath of the Wild here. There it is. Okay. All right. And we'll just start kind of transferring from one to the other. I think that's how we're going to do this. Roger P says, wait, do I know Metal Jesus Rocks? Yeah, we chat on Twitter. Actually, he's coming up to Connecticut, Metal Jesus, because he's going to be at the retro gaming convention in Hartford that I go to every once in a while, Retro World Expo, and he's one of the guests. And so I'm definitely going to connect with him when he's in town. I don't know if we're going to do any videos together, but that might be kind of a fun thing to do. So we'll figure it out. It's going to be in November, but he's going to be here, so I'm definitely going to meet him. And I haven't met him in person, but we compare notes all the time because we're both basement dwellers, if you will. So there you go. All right. And I got some more comments here. Let me answer a few more comments here. Yeah, so it looks like they replaced Pat Sajak and Vanna White with digital replacements there. So that definitely looks like an issue there. By the way, I'm getting some recommendations on things here. So Kirby's Canvas Curse on the DS is good. So the Kirby games are good for Doris, who's asking. Gamer Royale wants to know, where did I get inspiration to start the YouTube channel? This is actually a good question. It came from a lot of different places. What happened was I was really into Leo Laporte's stuff, his podcast channel, the Twit Network. So that was one source of inspiration. And then the other one, believe it or not, was Classic Game Room. And the reason why I liked Classic Game Room, first of all, I loved his content, but I liked his branding because every time you watched his video, you knew it was one of his. There was a consistency to it. So I kind of modeled my reviews after that. And for me, it was just a matter of, and if you go back in, actually, if you look at the video I just posted, there's a playlist there, and I've got like some of my earlier videos talking about how things got started. So that was kind of how it came about. It's just one of those things that starts by accident. But maybe one day I'll do like an overview of that. All right, so we're going to start transferring this stuff over, and we'll start with the common games. 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's start moving over my games, and I'll show you which games I own. And we're going to start with some of the 3, 2, 1. All right, let's start off 3, 2, 1. So let's start by moving. I got to start this one more time. Let me just get my head back in the zone here. So we're recording a video while we're streaming, in case you're wondering. That's why I do this stuff. 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's take some of my games now out of the old case and put them into the new one. And we're going to start with all of the games that are very common, the ones that I think everybody owns. So of course I have Mario Kart 8 here. This one is one of my favorites. My kids love this one too, so we'll probably not spend too much time talking about this one. We do love playing it from time to time. We play it. Oops, I just blocked my camera there. Let's try that again. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're going to now transfer my games from the old case to the new one, and you can see all of the physical games that I own. I'm going to spend more time on some of the more obscure titles and kind of go over the other ones quickly. So of course we've got Mario Kart here. That's a common one, so we'll just put that one in its little holder there. This seems to work okay. It's holding the game in place as I would hope it would. Of course, I've got Breath of the Wild here. I purchased this one right when it came out, and let me start this one more time. I am going to try to go through quickly. What it is the transition over to this shot is just not working for me. So I think what I might do is I may turn the autofocus off on the camera. So as long as I get this into the right spot, that will work. So now I've got the focus locked. So if I just go here, so maybe what I'll do is rather than show them pulling them out, we'll just kind of go one after the other. We'll figure it out. All right, let me start this one more time. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now I'm going to show you my entire physical game collection. We're going to go through this pretty quickly because a lot of these games are quite common. So of course we'll start off with Zelda here, Breath of the Wild. Everybody's got this game. I really enjoyed this one. In fact, this is the first Zelda game that I played through since the release of Zelda 2 back in 1987 or so. I really enjoyed that game. My kids and I really like Mario Kart 8. We've been playing a lot of that. I'll give you a look at that cartridge here, of course, with my other shot here that I spent a lot of time setting up. So this is a fun game. This next one is one that I haven't played that much because I was kind of disappointed with it. This is called Starlink. And this was by Ubisoft. And this one came in, by the way, free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. And this consisted of a line of toys that would link up with the game. And so you would basically attach these plastic pieces to your little spaceship, and that would reflect on screen. So the problem I had with this game is that you didn't really progress through the game getting new ships along the way. They basically required you to buy the toys or buy the digital DLC to get your ship upgraded. So it could have really been a fun space shooter, but it turned out to be something less than fun for me just because it wasn't very challenging because there was no progression. Everything was purchasable as opposed to being earned through gameplay. And the game cost, what a game usually costs. I think now it's pretty inexpensive, and again, you can buy a bundle of DLC content if you don't want to buy the actual toys, the actual toys that linked up with it. So there is a little bit of elasticity to that case there. We've got Super Mario Party, which is a fun one. They just updated this one to include online play. My daughters like that quite a bit. Mario Tennis Aces was a game that I bought and sold, and then my daughters really wanted to play it, so I bought a used copy and reacquired it. So we're going to start playing through this one again because they do want to play a little more Mario Tennis. A few of their friends play it. Then, of course, we've got Animal Crossing New Horizons. I had to buy 2 copies of this game because both of my daughters really enjoy the game, and they have a lot of friends who play it as well. So there are many days where we'll have a bunch of their friends all visiting somebody else's island. So what we did is we bought a second copy of the game because every island that you build is locked into the console that it was built on. So my 2 daughters live together on the island. I've got a spot on the island too. But if they are playing with friends and both of my daughters want to play with the group, they have to be on separate switches. So we bought a second copy of the game, which then loads up on the other Nintendo Switch here, and then they can log in and play together. And we have like a really basic island on this Switch that doesn't have much, but we have a character that can travel so they can go visit their friends' islands. But we've sunk a lot of time into this one. We have a pretty fun island, so I will maybe share with you the dream code for it if you want to see what it looks like. It's a little messy because my little one tends to leave trash everywhere. Pikmin 3 is a really great Wii U conversion. I've been a big fan of Pikmin over the years. That's a game where you control these little flower creatures and basically solve puzzles and stuff. It's really a fun game, although we're currently stuck at the last boss right now. It's a bit of a challenge to get out of that one. Super Mario Maker 2 is one that my daughters have been actually having some fun with lately. They've been making their own levels that are pretty much impossible, and they like watching me fail at that. So that's been a fun one to play with them. Then, of course, we've got the rare one here. This is the Super Mario 3D All-Stars. So this consists of Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. And this is a game that Nintendo released only for a short period of time. It was available digitally, but also available as a physical cartridge. And I, of course, bought this one from Amazon on a pre-order to make sure that I could get mine before it disappeared. And we played that one a little bit, although we're still working our way through some of the other Mario games. This is Captain Toad. This is their treasure tracker game. And this is basically an offshoot of a series of levels that was on Mario 3D World, I think, on the Wii U, and now, of course, on this system as well. And this is a really, again, fun little puzzle game that we're going to get back into pretty soon because we're just about done with Mario 3D World. I have Dragon Quest Builders here. This one is kind of a mix between Minecraft and Dragon Quest. So it's kind of like a Zelda-style game where you kind of go out adventuring, but you also have to build structures and stuff. And we had a lot of fun with this one. I'm almost done with this game. I was playing it for quite a bit and then got sidetracked with some other stuff. This, by the way, came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program a little bit. This is one that we played a little bit initially. It's funny because this is a video game that doesn't often use the screen. This is a game that Nintendo came out with. It's called 1-2 Switch, and this one was designed to kind of demo how the Joy-Cons work. So a lot of the game is actually played staring at people in the room with you as opposed to the screen, and you have to react to things that the console generates, I think through sounds and stuff. Pretty fun little game there. We recently got this one. This is Ring Fit Adventure, and this incorporates one of those Pilates rings with a bunch of on-screen activities, and it's actually a pretty good way to get a workout, and they gamify it, so you're kind of leveling up your character, you're taking on bosses. There's actually a lot of motivation to do exercise with this, and I haven't really done much with it yet, but my daughter's been playing with it quite a bit, and she's had a lot of fun playing Ring Fit Adventure. It's more of a workout than you would expect. Even though you're kind of running in place most of the time, there are a lot of different exercises that it has you do. You actually strap the GameCon to your leg so it can measure all of your different movements. So they have you doing a bunch of different things. This is Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. This was a port of a Wii U game, but the Bowser's Fury game is a new title for the Switch. And this was one of my favorite, more modern Mario games, at least on the Wii U. And we've been playing through this one. This can allow 4 players, at least on the Mario 3D World side of the game, to play at the same time. And it gets really chaotic, especially when you've got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old playing with you. So we've been playing through this one. We're almost to the end of it. I probably would have finished it by now if I wasn't playing with my kids. But one of the things that I love about the Switch is that there's so many family-friendly games on it that it's just a lot of fun to sit down with the kids and play some of these games without worrying about the content of them. Speaking of Mario, another one that we're having a lot of fun with is Mario Odyssey. Now, I got this game when my kids were really little, and we've since returned to it now that they're old enough to play it themselves. So my daughters and I played through the whole game again. I just love just the creativity of a lot of these Nintendo titles, and this is a fun one because the game is challenging, but it's not impossible, and you can really get through most of the main story in a reasonable amount of time, and they make it so you can actually get there. It's not impossible. It's just challenging and a lot of fun, and just really fun explorations and gameplay and world building, and we had a really fun time with that one. This is Luigi's Mansion 3. This was one that really surprised me. This was a game that at least the first version of it, I had on my GameCube 20 years ago. And it consists of Luigi, Mario's brother, running around in a haunted mansion with a vacuum cleaner. And this is the newest version of it. The graphics for the Switch are spectacular. The gameplay and the artistry is awesome. My daughter and I actually played through this entire game. And what's really cool is that there is a co-op element to it. So the The game has this character that plays along with Luigi called Gooigi, who's like this slimy Luigi guy, and he helps Luigi complete his missions. And it's fun if you have a younger kid, because Gooigi doesn't really die. If he gets hit, he just goes back into Luigi's backpack and then spits back out again. So it's really fun if you have a kid that wants to play a game with you, that you can actually get through the game with the kid, even if the kid's not so great at video games yet, here in Luigi's Mansion 3. This one is really a ton of fun. And then the other Zelda game that I've almost finished playing through, if I can get it out of the case here, is Zelda Link's Awakening. This is a remake of a classic Zelda game on the Game Boy. And this is a game that I never really played on the Game Boy, but they completely remade it for the Switch with a really neat art style. And again, I'm just about all the way through it. My wife got through the whole game on her Switch. She was really into Zelda as a kid, and she devoured this game. She spent, I think, only about a week playing it, but she got through the whole thing. She was like completely hooked on it. So if you like the original Zelda on the original Nintendo, I think you'll like that one quite a bit. I got some more games here. By the way, most of these I've paid for with my own funds. This is one that I haven't played yet. This is Lego City Undercover, and this is kind of like a Grand Theft Auto kind of game, but it's set in the Lego universe. And we haven't really played this one yet, but I think it's on the list of things to play. I got this during one of the Prime Day sales, or a sale that was going on Amazon. It was really low priced, so I figured I'd pick it up and give it a shot. So that's one that we're going to spend some more time on. This next one is one that I've been really enjoying because it's been fun to watch my daughter get into it. This is brand new. It's called Game Builder Garage. And this game is basically a game that allows you to make your own games on the Switch. And there is a ton of depth to this. This is not just like wiring up some pre-existing games and maybe tweaking an option or two. You can actually do some pretty heavy-duty coding with this. And the coding kind of matches what your kids might be experiencing in school with programming languages like Scratch. It's all very visual, and it's all about making connections between different little nodes that you set up. It's really intuitive, really fun, and a great way, if your kid is really into video games, to get them into coding. And the tutorials that they run you through at the beginning are really, really good. So I've been having some fun with that. And that's another one that I bought with my own funds. This is Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. This is another Wii U conversion. And this is like a 2D Mario game. It's okay. This one, people were expecting a little more out of it, but it's fun if you like the traditional Mario games, but with a little more modern polish. So that one's pretty good. This one, by the way, is one of my favorites. This is something that came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program a little while back. This is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And this is a turn-based strategy game that reminds me a lot of XCOM, but you're playing with Mario characters and the Raving Rabbids from that series of games. And this is one of those games that came out of nowhere and is just a ton of fun. I finished the main game, but there's now some DLC that I haven't played with yet, and there's a new version, a sequel coming out to this very shortly that I'm definitely going to pick up. This one, I was so surprised by how much I loved this game. It was definitely worth checking out. Let me show you now a few of the more obscure titles in my physical library. That was a good run. And we're going to have to just do a lot of B-roll on this. I'm just not sure if this is going to work as a video. I'll give it a shot and see how it looks when we're done with it. But I've been meaning to organize everything, so we may as well just talk about all the games that I have. I think people like that. All right, so let me see if I missed any comments here. Gamer Royale wants to know, did I have a Game Boy? Yes, I did. In fact, I got a Game Boy in 1989. And I did a video on the one of those EverDrive cartridges for the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. And I found my Game Boy Color that I bought back in '98 or so. But I had an original Game Boy. And I loved it. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. You know why? Because before the Game Boy, all you had was those Tiger Electronics games. So it's really good stuff. All right. Everybody wants me to taste those cartridges. I'm not doing that. All right, let's keep running through this here. So we're almost done. Okay. So now we're going to do the other ones. Let me just see where I left that last clip. That was 12 minutes. Wow. I'm not going to make you watch that whole thing again. I don't think I've ever recorded a 12-minute clip for a video ever. I usually do like 3 or 4 minutes and then we're out, as they say. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go to some of the more obscure titles. So I think what we'll do, because this is one where we're going to want to bring in some B-roll, but I think I'm going to talk about the games first and then I'll record the B-roll separately. Because you're definitely all going to want to see Night Trap. This one I think I might wait to the end on. All right, so let's do this one here. Let's get that spot found. There it is. Okay. 3, 2, 1. So this is Civilization 6, and what's unique about, actually not really all that unique. 3, 2, 1. So this is Civilization 6, and what's neat about this game is that you can synchronize your civilization that you play on this version with the PC version on Steam. You do have to set up an account with the, I think, is it Ubisoft or 2K? It's 2K. Let me start that again. 3, 2, 1. Now this is Civilization 6, a very popular game. This, of course, continues the world-building Civilization series that began way back in the early 90s on the PC. And this game is available on the PC, and on the Switch, you can synchronize your Switch game with the Steam version of it. So you can start playing on the PC, continue playing on the Switch, and then go back and forth. You do have to set up a 2K account to get that synchronization to work, but the game feels pretty much the same between the two platforms, although on the Switch you have to kind of juggle using the game controller to control it. And of course on the PC you have a mouse interface that's a little bit easier to play with, but still pretty neat to be able to synchronize up between two very different platforms like this. All right, we're going to need some B-roll on that one for sure. So that one I think I'm going to come back to in a little bit. All right. I think I'll do the Mega Man 11 next. So this is Civilization. I really like that shot from the PTZ camera, though. Doesn't it look good? I don't usually have so much bokeh. All right. 3, 2, 1. Now this next one is Mega Man 11, of course a Capcom title, and this is like a remake, reimagining. It's not quite a remake, is it? 3, 2, 1. All right, this next one is Mega Man 11. This is the latest in the Mega Man series, or is it Rockman in Japan? Is that what they called him? Rockman? Yeah, Rockman, I think is who he was in Japan. Yes, okay. 3, 2, 1. Now this next one is Mega Man 11, otherwise known as Rockman in other parts of the world. This, of course, is a Capcom title, and I've always been a fan of Mega Man. It's a very hard game. My favorite Mega Man game is Mega Man 2 on the NES, which I occasionally play on the Nintendo Switch online service. This one feels very similar to the classic Mega Man games, but of course they've spruced up the graphics and made it look more modern. It doesn't grab me the way the originals do, but it was on sale, and I figured it'd be fun to get a physical copy of this game, which is normally something people would buy digitally. That's a quick one, just because there's not much to talk about there. I'm not much of a game reviewer either, so I don't feel like I'm qualified to like dig into these games in a way that others would. I'm also trying to be respectful of time on this one, because this could go on for a while, as far as the recorded portion is concerned. And poor Jake's going to have to record a bunch of B-roll on this one. All right, so then why don't we do, because I have 2 limited run games, which will be the last 2. And I think I'm going to do these 2 together, just to save time. Let's get those wired in there. Yeah, there we go. 3, 2, 1. Now these next 2 are bundles of digital games that are sold on cartridge, and in full disclosure, both of these came in free of charge from the Amazon Vine program a little while back. The first one here is Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, and this one is their game night that consists of Monopoly, Risk, and Trivial Pursuit. And what's funny about these is that when you put them into the Switch, it actually pops up a number of titles on your menu. So they're actually giving you separate games on the cartridge. I think I need to explain that a little better. Let me try that again. Give me 1 second here, folks. I think I can actually show people on the screen here how that works. Let me boot my controller up again. And we'll get going here. Let's get my controller back up, because I can actually show on the screen what it looks like. And Alex Guy loves these live streams. Yeah, it's kind of fun. This was one of those things where I started, I was intending just to do this as a stream, and then I was like, you know what, this could actually work as a video, because I always I like watching people's collections of things. Like, people like that progression. So I thought this might be kind of a fun thing to try to shoot as a regular video also. All right, so let's get this back into place here. And there we go. 3, 2, 1. Now, these next two games came in free of charge from the Amazon Vine program, and these are bundles of digital games that you'll find on the Nintendo Switch eShop. So we've got a couple of game shows here. This is Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, and I've been playing ports of these two game shows going all the way back to my Apple II when I was a kid. Both Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy kind of play like you would remember them playing on other platforms. Jeopardy, of course, is going to be multiple choice answers as opposed to having to type the answer into the questions, but by and large they represent the actual game shows. And the other one here is called the Hasbro Game Night, and this consists of Monopoly, Risk, and the other one here, shoot, I just blew that one up. Let's try that again. So I think I can salvage the first part. And we're going to be running B-roll over all this stuff, so I'm just typing in instructions to Jake here about how we're going to pick up the next clip. Because now I've got all three on screen. All right, let's go back and zero it in here. There we go. 3, 2, 1. And the other one here is the Hasbro Game Night, and this consists of 3 games. You get Monopoly, Risk, and Trivial Pursuit. And the neat thing is that when you plug these games into the Switch console, it gives you 3 different games to load up. So these are really kind of, again, a bundle of what you might buy digitally. Monopoly and Risk play a lot like the board game. They're pretty much the same, but with a lot of spruced up polish, of course. I actually prefer to play those board games with the actual board game, especially if it's a family thing, just because there's more face-to-face interaction than everyone looking at a screen. The graphics, though, are really cool, so if you wanted to try a digital version of those games, you can. There's an online component to all of these, so you can play them over longer distances with friends or strangers, so that's pretty fun. Trivial Pursuit, though, is a lot different. It kind of runs like a game show, and I don't think that's a bad thing because it does provide a faster pace to a game that's generally pretty slow paced. So they still have some of the Trivial Pursuit components like the wedges for your little game piece, but you're playing again more in a game show kind of environment. And like Jeopardy, it is a multiple choice thing, not a fill in the answer. I can live with that. This is Hasbro Game Night. This might be like a 40-minute video. We'll have to see. I'm just looking at the timestamps here. Maybe, no, maybe not. We might be able to get in under the wire there. I think we might be okay. All right, so next up is the 2 limited run titles. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up this one first. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. And speaking of Metal Jesus, this was like one that he had on his channel that I thought was kind of fun. Is this like a sequel to something? Yeah, we'll do a quick little B-roll run of this. And let's see where we left off on that last clip there. And then we'll pick it up. 3, 2, 1. Not a fill in the answer. Okay, so we'll do the overhead for the next one. So Ryan is asking, yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but if you click on my Amazon link, you'll see what it is. The dock is it is a GameCube-inspired design, and those are actual GameCube connectors. So you can connect a GameCube controller to the dock and use it with the Switch, and it actually works with Super Smash Brothers. So it's pretty cool. It's really neat. I am probably not going to do these either, Gamer Royale, just because I can't get my hands on them. So we probably won't do that unless I can find a good deal on them. And Relentless Relento is enjoying this. Good. I'm glad you're all enjoying this. This is kind of fun. Roman says the most dangerous word for me for Switch games is sale. You and me both. I will say, though, that having the Xbox Game Pass has reduced my game spending, because a lot of times I'll be looking for something on Steam and then it's on Game Pass. I'm like, oh, I'll just play it there. So that's been working better for me. All right, so let's go move on now to this one. Let's do the overhead. I think that's how we're going to start this one. Okay. And it's getting late in the day here, so we've got to crank this out now. 3, 2, 1. All right, this next one is Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. And this is one that I just bought recently, and I haven't had a chance to play yet. My daughter really likes these kinds of 2D platformers, and she often likes to play with me, where we kind of go back and forth with the controller. So I thought this might be one she would enjoy. Now, this is an import game, essentially, but I bought it on Amazon. And again, I haven't played it yet. We just opened it up, so I will be playing around with this one a bit. It is a 2D platformer again, but with, of course, a lot of modern polish. And I saw this on Metal Jesus' channel recently, and I said, ooh, that looks like a fun one. I'm going to have to pick that one up. So I will have a verdict on this one probably in the near future. All right, I think that worked. Let me watch that real quick. We can't, like, redo the unboxing, so we're going to have to live with it either way. But and I'm pretty sure it'll work on my Switch. We'll have to double check that real quick. Yooka-Laylee. I'm just going to play this back real quick. Sorry to Bruce. 3, 2, 1. All right, this next one is Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. And this is one that I just bought recently, and I haven't had a chance to play yet. My daughter really likes these kinds of 2D platformers, and she often likes to play with me, where we kind of go back and forth with the controller. So I thought this might be one she would enjoy. Now, this is an import game, essentially, but I bought it on Amazon. And again, I haven't played it yet. We just opened it up, so I will be playing around with this one a bit. It is a 2D platformer again, but with, of course, a lot of modern polish. And I saw this on Metal Jesus' channel recently, and I said, ooh, that looks like a fun one. I'm going to have to pick that one up. So I will have a verdict on this one probably in the near future. Everybody, I had my mic off because I was playing back the thing and it echoes back on you. So, and right now it's downloading an update for Yooka-Laylee. So we'll let that finish up and we'll just kind of keep going here with our narrative. I don't usually do a lot of B-roll in my videos, so this will be a new thing for me to have to do all this. But maybe I'll call Jake over and have him record a bunch of B-roll. I guess I could use like the commercial, you know, the promotional videos for these, I guess. Okay, so Doris is back on Amazon. Turns out my niece has a Switch and has Animal Crossing. The game that I mentioned earlier that requires exercise or encourages exercise, that one is called, hang on a second. Oh my goodness, I'm losing all my games here. The one you want for the exercise is the Ring Fit Adventure. and it's like a whole kit. It comes with a Pilates thing. And my 8-year-old loves it. She's been having fun with that. You know, she has no problem running around, but like on the rainy days and stuff, I just throw that at her and have her do that. So I would say if she has the Switch, Ring Fit Adventure is great for the exercise stuff. And then Game Builder Garage, if you just missed my talk about that, my daughter's having a blast with that. And that's where you learn coding techniques. And what's neat about it, in Game Builder Garage in particular, is that it's not just like a bunch of parameters that you're changing. You're actually doing some coding at a very high level, so it's not complicated. There's no typing involved. It's all visual, but you're actually learning the concepts of how loops work and if and then statements and all that kind of stuff. It's really, I think, really good for kids. It's been really engaging with my 8-year-old, so I would definitely take a look at that one. All right, let's get that in there. Here we go, perfect. 3, 2, 1. Now, I love what Limited Run has been doing because they are coming out with physical versions of games that were really intended to be mostly digital. And this one I picked up because it was something that my daughter I thought might like. This is Shantae and the Seven Sirens, and we've been having a blast with this. Again, this is another 2D platformer, and Shantae has been a series that's been around since the original Game Boy days, at least the Game Boy Color days. And she's a character that has hair that can cause a lot of damage to enemies. They've got really well-designed levels and really cool enemies that you encounter and a neat storyline. It's just a great, fun game. We're almost done with it, and it's nice to have a physical version of it. And what was really neat about this is that in the box, which is like any other Nintendo Switch box, they included an actual manual, a 4-color, really beautifully illustrated manual. And my daughter devoured it. And it reminded me of when I was her age, and when I would get a new video game, I would spend so much time going through the book and kind of imagining the story. And as we were encountering bosses, she was remembering what she had read in the manual before. So really fun game. Limited Run really does well with this stuff. Way Forward is the publisher of the game, and they make some awesome 2D retro-inspired games. One of my other favorite games right now is River City Girls, which we've been playing on the Xbox, another Way Forward title. So really good stuff here from Limited Run. But Limited Run makes limited runs of these games, so you may not be able to find a physical version right now, but of course it is available digitally. All right, and then we got the last one. Oh my goodness, this was going to be fun. Okay, so this is Shantae. All right. Yeah, I think this video is not looking as long as I think it is. It's just that 12-minute run that we had there. That was a good long time. I'm going to send a note to Metal Jesus and ask him if he's had copyright issues grabbing promotional video of titles, because that might save us some time. All right. Alex Guy has another suggestion. There's a game called Outdoor Challenge. Active Life Outdoor Challenge is another fitness game in September. And some other suggestions here. Little Big Planet, WarioWare, DIY, Dreams, and more are all great visual scripting focused games. Yay for visual scripting. I really like that kind of stuff. Gamer wants to know, did I own an iPod back in the days? I did. I had actually bought one for my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. And then I got the iPod Shuffle, and then I bought the first like iPod Air, the little thin one. I love that. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff. All right, so now we're going to do the last one. And this one I'll capture some B-roll before we close out. Howard Phillips was the Nintendo president, I think, right? He was the one that... I'm going to find that clip of him saying that Night Trap. Let's find that real quick. I just got to make sure it exists somewhere. Because he said, like, this is never coming out on a Nintendo console. Yeah, we've got it here. Would never be released on any of their consoles. Let me just play that clip. I just want to make sure he said exactly what I think he said.
In the past year, some very violent and offensive games have reached the market. And of course, I'm speaking about Mortal Kombat and Night Trap.
Yeah.
And let me say that for the record, I want to state that Night Trap will never appear on a Nintendo system. Obviously, it would not pass our guidelines.
Isn't that great? Now, granted, Howard Lincoln is who it is. Isn't that funny? Oh, man, that's great. That's really funny. Okay. Gamer Royale wants to know, will I delete the stream? No, I never delete the streams. I just don't publish them to subscribers. But it will exist. Actually, if you go to my homepage of my channel, all of the streams are up there. So that is there. And by the way, here's a great example of the algorithm at work. Mr. Republic King says, I didn't know you have a Switch. I've seen nearly all your videos and I've never seen anything related to the Switch. And that's what's funny, because actually, like, the very first video I did as a full-time YouTuber was the Nintendo Switch when it came out, but the algorithm doesn't think you want to see it. Isn't that crazy? So that's how it works, right? 3, 2, 1. All right, the last physical game in my collection is the infamous Night Trap. This is another game that Limited Run released. And this is not a very good game. In fact, this is one of those full motion video CD-ROM titles from the early days of the Sega CD. And you're basically reacting to things that are happening, trying to prevent these young women from getting kidnapped by these guys in weird suits. But why I bought this is because Nintendo once said in a congressional hearing that this game would never, ever come to any of their consoles. Have a listen. That was Howard Lincoln, who was the president of Nintendo at the time, testifying to Congress about this game and how awful it was for the youth of America. And Sega at the time was publishing these kinds of games, but it was really funny to see this actually come out for the Switch. And I said, you know what, I have to buy this just so that I can say that I own Night Trap on a Nintendo product. Again, not a very good game, but the video actually looks pretty good on the Switch compared to how it looked on my Sega CD back in the day. And it's kind of a fun nostalgia trip to try this one out. This is available digitally as well if you want to grab it on the eShop. All right. Well, that's it for the games. So I should probably do a little outro here. I think that'll work. And let me see where I left off on that last clip there. This will be a fun one for Jake to edit because there's a lot of clips. Do you all want to see Night Trap real quick? I'll show it to you after I finish the outro here. Okay. So we last left off at the end, okay, on the cartridge, okay. 3, 2, 1. So, 3, 2, 1. So that's going to do it for this look at my Nintendo Switch collection. Again, I'm not much of a collector. I just buy the games that I'm interested in. But I know a lot of you are into the Nintendo Switch like I am. I think it's a great console, especially for 3, 2, 1. So there you go. I was just going through my Switch collection, getting everything organized, and I thought I'd make a video and a live stream about it. We're actually live streaming while I'm recording this. And yeah, just wanted to kind of run through everything. Let me know what you thought about. Actually, I gotta start this again. I'm still not there yet. One more time. 3, 2, 1. So that's going to do it for this look at my Nintendo Switch collection. Again, not much because I'm not much of a collector, but these are the games that interested me, the ones that I purchased, and the ones that I enjoy playing with my kids, with the exception of Night Trap. And that's one of the things that I love about the Switch. They've got a lot of fun games. I love the portability. I think they've really done a great job with this console, especially when you've got young kids in the house. There's a lot of fun things to play. The games are rather pricey, but again, I really think it's a console that is really well suited for situations like mine where you have kids that are into video games and you want to have a good library of games to play. And once more, I just want to remind everybody that I think buying the physical versions of these games whenever possible is the way you want to go, especially if you have more than one Switch in the house, because you really can't share digital games the way you can share physical games among household members. And that's why I always go with the physical copies whenever possible. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right, so we're going to load in Night Trap real quick, and then I gotta run because my My solitude is ending soon. So let me just add 15 to the mix here. All right, hang on here. 3, 2, 1. So that's going to do it for this look at my Nintendo Switch collection. Again, not much because I'm not much of a collector, but these are the games that interested me, the ones that I purchased, and the ones that I enjoy playing with my kids, with the exception of Night Trap. And that's one of the things that I love about the Switch. They've got a lot of fun games. I love the portability. I think they've really done a great job with this console, especially when you've got young kids in the house. There's a lot of fun things to play. The games are rather pricey, but again, I really think it's a console that is really well suited for situations like mine where you have kids that are into video games and you want to have a good library of games to play. And once more, I just want to remind everybody that I think buying the physical versions of these games whenever possible is the way you want to go, especially if you have more than one Switch in the house, because you really can't share digital games the way you can share physical games among household members, and that's why I always go with the physical copies whenever possible. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right, I'm happy with that. You all want to see Night Trap? Oh, it's an update. It's always an update. As you can see, I played this once and I never really got back into it again. Gamer wants to know, do I have a Series S or X? I have a Series X, and I got it at a retail price. I was able to find one. And I am very pleased with the Series X, partly because of the Game Pass component. That's why I like it so much. I think Game Pass is a great value, especially because I can integrate the PC side. So I've got a bunch of flight simulators on it, right? So there's a lot of, there's just so much value, again, in Game Pass. So I've been really happy with that. And we'll let the game load up here. And I'll give you some audio. So the video looks a lot cleaner than it did, of course, on the So we are playing Night Trap right now, in case you're wondering. And it takes as long to load as the original CD-ROMs did, didn't it? And this, of course, predates HD video. If I'm not mistaken, a bunch of these digital picture games were originally crafted for this VHS thing that they were putting together. Now, Dana Plato was a child actress on a popular sitcom. I forgot which one she was on. Here, we'll get to the game part here. So be careful I don't violate any Amazon standards here. So what you do is you kind of switch between views here. And so these are like the bad guys, and you're supposed to initiate traps. Here we go. So, and it's all like button pushes. And you got to continually monitor all the different rooms to see what's going on. There's like a little bit of a story that goes on with it. And you have to basically stay one step ahead of these guys to prevent them from taking the women hostage. Oh, I missed that guy. See, now he's going to go do something bad. And so this is what you do. So that's Night Trap. But you got to continually move around to the different scenes, because these videos are all. That's one thing about this game I think is kind of interesting, is that you've got eight different video feeds going on at the same time. And so you have to keep track of everything. You're kind of like you're monitoring a security camera. So I just missed that guy. And what's going to happen is these young women are going to come to the house, and you have to prevent these guys from kidnapping them.
You are a very special boy. We both know that. But But you must start.
Different
doing
Strokes was the
your
sitcom.
job.
Thank you, William Wilkinson.
We all have to do our job.
I know.
We'll help your cousin with that.
Yeah, it's about time. Dawn on you if you don't get on the ball.
But you see how what's neat, and this is, think about this. This is like playing on old CD-ROM stuff back in the early 90s. You've got essentially like these videos are all running concurrently. I mean, it's not playing them all concurrently, but the time is really. There was some thought that went into this one more than some of the other games. Because if I click off of here, this is not pausing the video. It's actually going to progress, 5 seconds now ahead. So you can see now it's on a different clip. So if I switch off of here, go up here, and come back, oops.
Awkward face.
You know what I mean? Like it's not pausing the video when I switch off. So it's keeping track of the time. And it's probably running a little faster on this because it's all solid state versus that. And you think about it too, like if you're playing through this, you got to play it a couple of times because this is going on at the same time that this is going on with these two guys, right? So there is some interactivity to it. And as full motion video games go, I think this one was probably one of the more innovative versions that were out there. And it doesn't make it a great game, but it just makes it more interesting. And I should add, I should probably put this into the mix somewhere. I'm going to add this to the video because My Life in Gaming did a documentary on this. So if you want to learn more about it, check it out. I met them actually at a conference not that long ago, and they gave me a copy of their documentary there. So I think I'll mention that when we get in there. Gamer Royale wants to know, what's my favorite game of all time? This is a hard question to answer because I have a lot of favorite games. I really do. It's hard to give you a definitive one on that one. I would say one of my earliest favorite games was on the Atari 2600. I loved The Empire Strikes Back on the Atari 2600. That was a fun game. But I have so many, so many that I enjoyed, for sure. William Wilkinson, yes, Sewer Shark. Actually, we did that on a stream recently. So there are a couple of flash cartridges available for the Sega Genesis. One is called the Mega EverDrive Pro, which is on Amazon. You can find it there. The other one is from a company out of Europe, and the name is, why am I blanking on the name? But the Mega EverDrive Pro and this other one, they're not cheap, but they're flash cartridges that also emulate the CD-ROM. So you can play Sewer Shark, which we did in that video when I reviewed it. So that was pretty fun. Good stuff. William said, wasn't Night Trap on Sega CD? It was. Yes, it was on Sega CD. There was a version that was also available on the 32X CD, which had better quality video. I think it came out for the 3DO also. So yeah, there's a bunch of... yeah, it was on the 3DO. And now it's on all of the major consoles. So you can get it on the PlayStation and the Xbox as well. A limited run brought the whole thing back. But it was a big deal at the time. Yeah, so it's on PS4 and Windows. Xbox One planned for the future. I'm not sure if it ever came out. But it ended up going into as a congressional hearing. So it created a lot of problems. So Richard, here, I'll answer this question. Because, yeah, you are late, and I did organize everything. If you want to call this organizing, I put everything in a new holder here. So how many do I have? Let's count. Let's count. So we have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 20. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 28 physical titles, and then a bunch of digital ones. We didn't even get into the digital stuff, so I just wanted to focus on the physical stuff. But yeah, so I put everything in this container. That's what I did today. I accomplished something. That's what I did. What did you do at work today, honey? I put my Nintendo Switch games into a holder. So it's good enough, I think. What I want to do actually, let's start doing some product reviews here, because what happens if you're out traveling with this and you shake it? What what are the games going to look like when we unshake it here? Let's take a look. Will they be together? Yeah, it held them in place. Good. They didn't move at all. So we gave it a good shake, and all the games are still intact. And let's try an SD card and see how that fits in there. So I've got one of these. This is 128 megabytes. Megabytes, not gigabytes, megabytes. This is from my old Palm Pilot, or my Palm Treo phone. Yeah, it fits fine. Yeah, I mean, it's good enough. It's basic transportation, but it'll hold all the games. So that was why I got it. Good stuff. All right. So, there's another good question. What's the game that I've played the most in the past month? I think I can actually find that out, right? If I go into my profile page here, maybe? Will it tell me that? Let's see, profile. So this is a bit mixed up because I have been playing a bunch of games just to show stuff to people. I've been having fun with Burger Time Party, actually. It's a good little port of Burger Time. So my kids are playing Super Mario Party. We've been playing a lot of Super Mario 3D World. We just got back into Mario Tennis. Mario Kart 8. Mario Odyssey. Again, I love Mario Odyssey. And again, you can finish the game in 20, 25 hours. So that's pretty good. My daughters like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We haven't played in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but we've been having fun with that. Had a great time at Luigi's Mansion with the kids. That's all it's showing me right now. Tetris 99 is like my junk food. I play with that one quite a bit. And we've been playing a lot. So what we've been playing right now, this is on the Xbox, but it's also available for the Switch. We have been playing, my daughter and I, we just played through River City Girls. We had a blast with that game. She loved it. So, yeah, Burger Time Party I like quite a I'll show it to you real quick before I have to go. I like it, and I wish it had an online multiplayer component because it's got a couch co-op mode. And the mode that I play, I'll show you the mode that I play here. The mode that I play is this, it's like this marathon mode here. I'll give you some sound here. So they have like a couple of different things here. The one I've been playing is the challenge one, I think. Yeah, just trying to rack up the score. But they have like a puzzle environment to it, like a puzzle kind of thing. And you can play multiplayer simultaneous. I think you can have 4 players at once. It doesn't work with the D-pad though, so you got to use the sticks. I'll give you a better view of the screen here. I'm not playing very well. Maybe we'll get one of these guys to come and follow me here. But this one's like one of those games where it's really addictive because you just want to rack up a high score. And believe it or not, I actually almost prefer this one to the original arcade. I don't know what it is about it. It's just, I think it's a little more challenging. Obviously, the graphics are better. But there's some certain degree of satisfaction when you start really racking up a high score. And every time you complete a burger, they drop like some good power-ups for you. But it's hard. Oops. See? It's tricky. So yeah, I think if they had like an online multiplayer, that would be a lot better. Because it's a really cool couch co-op mode again. So there you can see we got the bonus. And then they have like these power-up items you can get. So this slows down the peppers here. And the egg guy will come out, I think, in a later level. But the pepper guys are really good at following you around, so they're pretty aggressive. But it's nice to like rack up a big score here. But this is like a nice reimagining of Burger Time, I think. I mean, I really, like this one is kind of addictive. Martin says he played a lot of Burger Time, the C64 games. Yeah, I got to get back into Pac-Man 99. I was playing a bit of that. It didn't grab me like Tetris did. And I think there's some like Pac-Man game on Stadia that really looked fascinating to me. So that's one I want to check out too. But I don't have Stadia. I don't really want to pay for like Stadia games. I'm not sure how long, if they're long for this world. But it gets crazy. Like they really like load up the bosses, or load up the enemies on you in this game. So you'll see like if you take too long to finish the level, they just keep coming. They're just relentless. And they respawn very quickly too. So if you can grab your power-ups, get them. Because like right now I'm like somewhat invincible. And you get caught, like you don't have your pepper, you're screwed. I'm actually not doing too bad here, everybody. I think I may play this a little bit longer here. Oh, I just died again. Yeah, my score is doing pretty good here. So I think my high score was what, like 96,000? Let's see if I can beat that. Burger Time 99 would be an awesome concept. They need to make that happen. I think that would be really fun. Now this is a digital-only game as far as I know. I don't think there's a physical version of Burger Time. Oops, shoot, I just totally gave that away to this guy. Yeah, so this one I've been just about trying to rack up the score, but they do have like a progressive puzzle kind of system to this. So that the levels have some different dynamics. They have like movable platforms and stuff. So like there's a little bit more of a puzzle component to it. It's not quite a pure Burger Time experience. There's the egg guy. The egg guy is in this game too. He just doesn't come out to this level. But it's fun, right? But you can see how like the enemies really just start like loading up on you. Oh, that's it. Oh, I think we're still going here. Okay, never mind. I thought I was done. Oh, now I'm done. Sorry, everybody. I was looking at the wrong thing. I had no peppers left. I had one guy left. I probably could have beat my score. But this is what happens. Like you just do this rinse and repeat with this, and you just can't stop playing it. That's what happens with me on this. So it's good stuff. Roman misses the pixel sprites. Yeah, you know what's fun though is that we're starting to see a lot of those more pixelated sprites come back. So like I said, River City Girls. I don't have it on the Switch. I've been playing it on Game Pass, but that's like it's just so much fun. And it's got a really nice, really pixelated sprites on that one. It's fun stuff. All right, everybody. Well, I got what I wanted to get accomplished here, so that's good. And I'm going to go take the dog for a walk and start thinking about getting dinner ready. It is a Tuesday after all. So yeah, this was fun to connect with everybody. Martin says, I assume this is digital only. Yes, it is digital only, as far as I know. Let me see. It's called Burger Time Party. Let me see if there's one up on... Yeah, it is digital only. I'm not seeing it for sale on Amazon. Let me see what it costs. Burger Time Party. And this is one of those games that I'm sure goes on sale every once in a while too, so check it out. Yeah, normally it's 20 bucks. I don't think I paid that much for it though. If I did, I had like a gift card or something that I bought it with. Good stuff. All right. Well, I got to run, but thank you all for tuning in. I enjoyed this. This was a fun little excursion. It's always fun to catch up on my Nintendo Switch organization. So I will be back again before you know it. And, hit the notifications, do all that kind of stuff, and keep those comments coming. I greatly appreciate everybody who sticks around and, you're giving your time to me. I really appreciate it. So I will talk to you very soon. All right? Catch you all in the next one, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.